had a very, very weak Avatar run. I'm not gonna sit up here and act like.
She just runs away, and then she starts fighting for no reason, basically just like living her life pointlessly. That's so weak though. Like
she's a horrible mix of Kiyoshi's temper and Korra's carelessness, and it's not in the fact that and a lot of people look at Korra obviously as careless, but Korra, he lived a certain way in the physical world because of everything that he experienced in the spiritual world. Korra doesn't even have that issue. She's just careless, period. So she's what we thought Korra was. We thought Korra was just an irresponsible Avatar. We didn't know the other aspect of what he was actually doing, how he was being responsible.
Yeah, she seems like the type of person where like she wants to be good, and if she's not good, it's just like, yo, I'm peace out. You know, I gave her my best run, and that's kind of like what she did. Like she tried, and then she failed, and it was just kind of like, okay, I'm done for. I'm just gonna. I'm not a great Avatar. I might as well just like, you know, basically what she did was kind of just like quit for a minute. You know.
I mean, in a lot of those situations, I like to place other avatars in that situation and see, okay, how would they have handled that? I see them doing a lot better with those issues than we saw Korra do, because majority of the time it wasn't really Korra that was fixing the issue.
Yeah, you would think, because you got Aang, who didn't really have any teachers, none of that. He had to train himself. Then you have Korra,
any real teachers,
any real teachers. You know what I'm saying? But Korra, she has everything. She's got the White Lotus training her. She's got Tenzin training her. She's got, you know, the past avatars that she can learn from. And so like for her being the type of avatar she is just like, wow, dang, you know what I'm saying? Like you have everything you need to be a great avatar, but she's not really, you know, she's like, you know, she's dealing with the things that she's dealing, she's the way that she is. So it's kind of interesting to see that. And
even then we look at sort of Aang never really had a chance to fully master airbending until he was older. I think people will be like, well, he was raised in airbending, so all he did was airbend. That doesn't make you a master. There's a different, being trained by a master for a long period of time. There's certain techniques and different things that you develop with age. Korra was so young, but he was a prodigy at a young age. So at that age, he was sort of prime. Is that his technique wasn't great, but once he got older, he became a master in that area. So Aang really wasn't even a master of airbending at 12 years old.
Yeah, like he was a master above like the other airbenders his age, but he still had a lot to learn. He still had
so much more, which is why in the end, when we see him in Avatar state airbending, it looked a lot different than what he could do otherwise, because he hadn't, outside of the Avatar state, he hadn't mastered that. I mean, like I said, I look at it, I don't think that move ruined Legend of Korra. I think it was horribly placed. I think they put it in a bad place, because you just sort of say, oh, Brit's spirit world severed type situation. You say, oh, you lost your connections to the past lives. Next season now. So you don't really go back and fully address that issue and try to, at least in season 4, show how she can either fix this or how she can't fix this. Tell us, well, this is why you can't fix it, or this is how you can fix it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. It's just kind of like the issue.
They just sort of just dropped it.
It's kind of like, well, what's going on with that, you know?
And I think there's so much going on in that series. They need to slow it down. That's it. It really was, Legend of Korra was really a show that could have gone, instead of going just 4 seasons, it could have gone 6. Connection to past Avatar severed. It's okay, so what does this mean for the next Avatar then? You never explained that. So it's
that was what was triggering to me. It's kind of like, okay, so you did all this, it was such a big thing, like that's such a big issue. I'm like, and for me, for a lot of people being like fans for such a long time, and then that happening and not really getting any explanation, or like, hey, this is how you can fix it, how you can't fix it. It's kind of like, okay, so this happened, that's just it, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's no more talk about it. But I feel like maybe next, if they were to come out with the Avatar after, or whatever the case may be, or maybe continuing Legend of Korra, maybe like where she's maybe able to fix it or something like that. I mean, I don't know what the case may be, but what I would look forward to is being able to see different avatars. So like, although we already know, like, you know, a few of the avatars already, it'd be kind of cool to get to see other avatars as well. So maybe by them bringing it back, either with her or with another avatar, it'd be kind of cool to experience and get like the storylines of other avatars.
You don't even need to get that creative. You don't even need to make up a whole new avatar. You can reach back to the ones that you've already made. There's still a lot we would like to know about Yang Chen. That's one that you haven't developed yet. the other, I always forget his name, the one from the Fire Nation. He looks like Jafar. They wrote a little something on him. I would like to see more about him. The Earthbender, we see him towards the front. Big stocky dude. I would like to see. Like, you already have these avatars created. Right? Korra had so much potential, and there's still a lot they still can do with it if they decided to bring it back. I don't think that they will, but I don't think that was the death to the series. I just think it should be a mark on Katara's failure and what the next avatar will have to pick up and fix. And she has a lot of failures. Fact of the matter is unlike Korra, Kyoshi had a lot of resentment towards Korra, and Korra had a lot of resentment towards Yang Chen. They had legitimate reasons for failing one aspect of the spirit or the physical world, and they were able to respect each other because of those differences. But in Korra's case, she has no excuse. She has no excuse. No, the world wasn't in shambles. Aang had an excuse. No, the world wasn't in shambles at that time. No, another avatar didn't leave you in a bad situation. You had the White Lotus. You had a master in your element. Aang didn't have a master in his element. He had to teach himself his own after one point. So Korra was dropped in a perfect situation. She had no reason to make the mistakes that she did, and leave him that way. So it's going to be a lot harder for the next avatar to respect her and the legacy that she left behind, as opposed to the rest of the avatars who have a legitimate reason as to why something wasn't right. You can hate Aang all you want, but he left her a pretty good situation as opposed to the ones that he was left in and the previous avatars were left in. Yeah,
I feel like for her, she was definitely all over the place as far as like how she would handle things. I think her issue was like, just like you said, like her temper and stuff like that, like going based off of like emotion, not really thinking about stuff until she actually does it. So she really didn't think things through like she should have. I think that was her main thing, is not thinking things through, not like actually like, thinking about it rather than just going straight out on emotion all the time. So I think that was kind of like, that's where most of her issues came in.
And I think that's part of what makes her a weaker avatar, is because a lot of the other avatars didn't really have that issue. Korra, it seemed as though he had that issue, but it turns out that he actually had intention. What he was doing was very intentional, and it was very important. As far as what he was doing. So somebody watching this video would say, Korra. No, Korra was actually, he was a responsible avatar. He neglected one aspect of the avatar's duties, but he was on point. Korra, she was all over the place. A lot of the other avatars, they didn't have issues with thinking things through. They made mistakes as children, but Korra is 20 something. When the avatar when Korra starts,
she's pretty up there.
She's 20 something. So at that age, she should have mastered all of the elements and been ready to go and take care of her duties from that time forward. So I mean, for her, she doesn't have any excuses as to why she fails, and she does it a lot, and she has. I mean, it almost seems as though, I think keeping her in the Northern Water Tribe for as long as they did was bad for her. But
she definitely should have traveled more. That's what's crazy to me. Like, if you were to bring all the nations together like that, or like whatever.
But you've only been from the Northern Kingdom.
There should have been a lot more traveling, a lot more like stuff like that. And she didn't really seem like she got a lot of that. She still seemed like she was like pretty sheltered. Because even when she first went to Republic City, she was like what, like a teenager, like pretty much almost.
She was
like
20. The show started, she was like 20.
Wow, so she was basically like an adult, and she still hadn't even been to Republic City yet. So that to me was kind of like, even as a like, I understand they probably wanted her to have like a regular childhood. I don't know how that went, but like it's just like, well, she could at least had more exposure to other places, because that's just how it works with an avatar. You travel, you get to know people. If you're the avatar, you gotta be everywhere. You don't have to know places. You have to be everywhere. So the people know who you are. Stuff like that. So,
the fact that nobody knew who the avatar was for that long doesn't make sense, because I mean, it's a lot of issues with that particular show, and it's a lot of things that people ignore about Korra, that people want to say, Korra was the best avatar. It's like, well, take away her friends, and what do you have? Because Kyoshi, she made her own friends. When people talk about, she had the Kyoshi warriors, yes, she made them. She had the Dai Li, yes, she created the Dai Li. She was operating on her own. So everything that she was doing under her own power. She did everything by herself. The decisions that she made on her own as the Avatar. Same thing with Roku. Roku made a bad decision not killing Sozin, but it was still his decision. He didn't ask Tenzin, what do you think I should do here? No, he made that decision and he owned up to that decision. Same thing with Korra. He made his own decision and he lived up to his own decision. He didn't have anybody with him. He had friends, but he had to sort of neglect his friends for what he knew he had to do on the spiritual side of the world, because they couldn't help with that. So you see all these other avatars going in alone and taking care of business. And even Aang, he fought Ozai on his own. Even though he had help as far as the armies,
right,
he fought Ozai on his own. We haven't seen Korra really do that and succeed. We've seen her take on them by herself, and what does she do? She get beat down.
Yeah.
So she's not really all together. When you actually examine it and actually look at it, it's like, yo, if her homie hadn't come in,
or if Tenzin's daughter hadn't stepped in, that whole situation would have been pretty much messed up. Because she basically saved the day with that one. She basically was the hero that season.
I mean, we would have been looking at a new Avatar. We would have had to wait for a whole new Avatar to come through at a couple of different situations.
I feel like for Korra, she would have lost one good time. Had she had nobody, right? She would have I think she would have lost one good time. Packed her, maybe once or twice lost and just packed her bags, just like went and lived like her whatever life, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think she would have cared.
And another thing that doesn't make sense is she's up here kicking the White Lotus behind in the Northern Kingdom, but you get to Amani, you getting your behind kicked. Like,
I think
you get to these different.
She was so big headed because she was the Avatar. I think a lot of times she just thought automatically that she was gonna be better.
Yeah, but
so that did take her down a couple notches.
Even then, if you think that way, you were fighting the White Lotus. How trash must the White Lotus have been for you to be fighting full on, beating them, and then you get up to these other people and you getting whacked. You getting smacked around like you've never fought before.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, that doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but it doesn't make sense. You are kicking. I'm sorry, but if Aang had kicked Iroh's behind, or if Aang had beat King Bumi in a fight, or if he had beat Pakku in a fight, I expect him to go in against anybody else and do the same thing, because at that time they were the best benders on the planet. There was nobody better than them. So for you to go in and kick the White Lotus behind for years in Northern Water Tribe, in the Southern Water Tribe for all this time, and you go to Republic City and get your behind handed to you by some people in some masks in a sports game.
That's true.
It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense. She is in an arena, in an organized fighting situation, but your technique is bad enough to where you're getting your behind kicked. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense. She should have been able to take over the arena fighting by herself. She should have been able to do that by herself. You were fighting the White Lotus. Those were supposed to be the greatest. Who were I want to know who they were. If the White Lotus was getting beat like that, and Korra was about to get killed every other day in Republic City, how trash must the White Lotus have been at that time?
That's a good question, though.
I need to know. And how everything turned out after all the mistakes that she made. Hold up, you got rid of all the past avatars, and you messed up the one thing that the Avatar is here for, as far as the bridge between the spirit and the physical world. I'm sorry, but I don't want advice from you.
Yeah, I feel like the next Avatar is gonna be dope just because of that. Because you gotta fix all those issues, and on top of that, you're learning on your own. So there's gonna be a lot of things that you get to see them like overcome and like learn stuff like that. So that'd be kind of cool to see that aspect of it. So in that way, I'm kind of excited to see what they do with the next Avatar because of all those mistakes that Korra made. So I guess it kind of pays off later. Because you get to kind of see like the new Avatar. I feel like the new Avatar is going to be pretty dope. Because it's going to have to be, because they're dealing with all that other stuff, all the stuff that she most likely is going to be leaving behind. So
I mean, I'm looking at that. I think what comes next, I'm pretty sure what comes next is you got an Earthbender. And the good thing, I think what makes sense, is that is going to be a male Earthbender next. Because the last Earthbender that came through in the cycle was a female, was Kyoshi.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a male Earthbender next, which is, I think, what they need. That's exactly what they need coming after Korra, is a male Earthbender, because it's gonna take some serious cleaning up. It's gonna take some serious heavy duty work on the earth, because the earthbender, they're firm. And sort of like how Kyoshi was. Kyoshi was no mess. She was no mess. So like, listen, and that's how I'm gonna kill you. That's how the next avatar is gonna have to be, because Korra's left so many issues and so many loopholes that they're gonna need somebody who's just gonna come in and say, listen, I gotta kill all of y'all and start over, because this situation that I'm in, I mean, I can't leave you alive. I gotta start over. So, and that's how most of the Earth Kingdom, that's how most of the Earth Kingdom avatars have been, and that's what they're gonna need. So it's perfect that they have an Earth, that, because imagine an airbender coming after Korra with all those issues. It would be hard. Yeah, really good conversation. I mean, overall, I think that we really hit every angle of what, you know, people might be thinking about not only Korra, but based around a lot of other things as far as that particular situation that happened, because that's not something that people are talking about. Yeah, people don't really make that connection. A lot of people are watching this and have seen Legend of Korra a bunch of times, and it never really clicked that it doesn't make sense at that time period that they would cut the ties with the past avatars. Nobody really registered that, so I think it's something that it gives food for thought for some people. Yeah,
I'm excited to see what they do with this next avatar. Hopefully they do come out with the next one, because I feel like that would be definitely a great continuance. That'd be really exciting to see. So looking at it from that point of view of like what they could do with it, I'm okay with it now. Even though, you know, I did hate the fact that they did all that, you know, that whole thing. You know, I hated that, but I think it'll be good for the next avatar to see that development happen. Yep. So thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, share, subscribe. And we'll see y'all next week in our next video. It's going to be very exciting, so stay tuned for that. And peace out, y'all. Bye.